Alright, welcome back. Now, today I want to take a moment and talk about some of the things that I've heard over the last couple of days. And of course, I will show you I'll show you something very silly with the rock. Not really sure if I show you this build, but it should be quite silly. Now, in I think the last update last week, the developers have changed some of the capital anomaly mechanics. Basically, the spawn rates of the capital anomalies has been improved by roughly 15%, and they also have changed the boxes a little bit, but overall it was generally accepted as a decent change, and it was very confusing when I heard today, specifically today, that some players supposedly reported less spawning of capital anomalies, which I found really weird because this week, when the update was released, I done maybe 4, 5 different capital anomalies within almost the same day. So the spawn rate has definitely been. It feels to be buffed. That hasn't happened before the update. And of course, I also noticed some talk about the planetary materials being nerfed. Also, something that I haven't noticed being changed. So overall, there's weird rumors floating around that so far I from what I've seen and from what I've tested don't seem to hold any water. So I don't think that's being changed in such a way at all so far. I don't see any change. Now, in order not to talk about that the whole video, I said I'll do something quite stupid with the rock. So when I say something stupid, I usually like to try out different things with my ships, and I kind of wanted to try out a dual propulsion built battleship. Not something that is. I don't think that I've ever done something like this before. I think maybe with the Macario perhaps, but nothing with something like a rock. Now the DPS is 1417. This wasn't originally my ship. My friends basically borrowed me the ship to use it, and the rigs are mostly for resistance, other rig for bursts for DPS, and one rig to basically improve the range. Imagined to be used as a sniper, although I used the ship as a close range rock. I used it for various different purposes. So far I like this ship. I kinda grew attached to this rock since it's my first ship, my first battleship that I brought in this system, in this new home. So I'll see what I'll be able to do with this ship down the road. Now, it has one afterburner and a micro warp drive. Basically, the dual propulsion build behind this is, if I ever get scrambled, I can still maintain some decent speed with the afterburner. But primarily, to maintain the range, I use the micro warp drive. There's a capacitor battery to maintain the capacitor, a booster, adaptive, and a tracking computer. Now, the last 3 modules can be changed based on your liking. Doesn't have to have a tank at all. It can basically be used as a full-on sniper build with triple tracking computers, or you can even add some magnetic field stabilizers. Overall, the last 3 modules are basically easily replaceable. You can pick any other module that you like. In the medium slots, I have triple webs, a scrambler. This is primarily to counter ships that do get close. You can easily slap small ships with triple webs and a scrambler that get close to you, since you have an afterburner and you will still maintain some decent speed if you get scrambled, which you wouldn't be able to do if you only had a micro warp drive. And overall, I like the tank on the rock. I mean, the rock does have a bonus on damage, optimal range, and shield resistance. So overall, a very interesting to fly ship. Now, uh, let's undock and let's have some fun with this thing. Now, usually when I'm running the special anomalies, I prefer to be close range, usually with a Megathron Navy or, in some cases, some other Navy ships, but primarily I've been flying the armor tanks. After all, this is Sancha Space, and Sancha Space does primarily EM and thermal damage, so they're not really anomalies that you should be doing with a shield tank. Armor tanks have a much easier time with the new anomalies. Now, I actually did attempt to run these anomalies with a shield tank Rokh. It did. I mean, it did go well. It wasn't that bad, but it is kind of tricky when you have, I think, like 4 elite neutralizers and 4 Nosferatus attached to your ship. They do make short work of your capacitor if you are not prepared. And the fact that shield boosters eat a lot more capacitor by default doesn't really help the shield tank ships in these anomalies. However, it is still doable, but armor tanks just have a much easier time in these anomalies. So with the Rokh, if you have a good tank with a good capacitor, close range definitely one of the ways how you can easily do this. But if not, then a long range approach is definitely a better idea. Now, I've done these anomalies solo, and I've done the anomalies in a fleet. Personally, lately I've been doing a lot of stuff solo or with one or two player or one or two friends. But specifically PvE stuff, lately I've been mostly running solo. Well, I'm kind of, because I'm playing this late at night as usual, so not a big surprise. My friends are currently asleep or at work, so I have basically the whole system for myself for the next couple hours. Although I will probably go to sleep after I finish recording the video here. Now, thankfully, the ships don't really have the first wave. Actually, this is not the first wave. I was clearing the anomaly with a close range build, but then decided to go with a long range build. But they don't really have any scrummers or webs with the first wave, so we have more than enough time to basically take range. Now, the Rokh surprised me in more ways than just one. This ship is actually quite speedy. When I say not as fast as the Nestor, not as fast as the Typhoon, or not as fast as a Macariel, but it is not slow. You will reach about 100 meters per second, which is decent. It's pretty okay, decent speed. So you will be reaching optimal range fairly quickly. I'm also using a thermocirculation plant with the level 15 attribute set for optimal range. The thermocirculation does increase your range a lot. It's a very useful implant. It is one of the most useful implants in the game, since it does give you armor or extra range in both the situations. The attributes can be quite useful for armor tanks or for snipers, so I mean, not just for snipers, it can also be easily used for close range ships, so it really works both ways. 104 kilometer optimal range, which is perfect. Now, what was I talking about on the start of the... Oh yeah, capital anomalies. Now, based on the last couple videos, it's I uploaded, you could see me using a Sion carrier. In some cases I used an Archon, in some other cases I used something else, but overall the spawn rate seems to be better. In some I would actually say it feels more than 15%. In some cases, from what I've seen, this is definitely not more than 15%. The spawn rate is increased, but it is not increased as much as I feel like it, because from my experience, I would say 50% increase, because before the updates, I think I used to run like two special anomalies, special capital anomalies per, I don't know, couple days or something like that. But I've never done like 4 or 5 within such a short time frame, and they're spawning like very quickly. So I'm still kind of confused how some players came to the conclusion that they have actually been nerfed. I've seen like someone said like 85% nerf on spawn rate. Makes me really confused, because it doesn't add up. It really doesn't add up. Like maybe I spent this whole half of the day basically thinking about this, couldn't get it out of my head, so I decided to share it with you, because maybe if I see more, maybe if you guys tell me what you experienced with the anomalies, maybe we can come to a conclusion. But from my experience, from what I've seen, the spawn rate is definitely better than it used to be. And also someone said that they also nerfed the loot. I think they kind of, if I remember correctly, in the patch notes it was stated that they have removed boxes, some of the boxes, which I really didn't really think much of it, because I haven't noticed any decrease in the loot from the special anomalies, from the special capital anomalies. So also kind of confused at that, because we were getting about 1.5 to 2.5 billion on average. I mean, it's RNG, goes up and down constantly, but the overall loot was pretty good. So very confused at how. I mean, I can kind of see that the results can be kind of, if someone has a bad day, they have a bad day, and it feels like everything is nerfed. I know that feeling all too well. So maybe that's the case, but from my experience, at least in Sunshine Space. Now, of course, not everyone is in Sunshine Space. There's Pladet, there's Serpentis, Angel. So I don't know about that space. I don't know if anything has been changed over there. I think all of the anomalies kind of have the same mechanic attached to them. I mean, that's how it should be, since it's kind of the same thing with a different name. Doesn't matter if it's Sansha, Blood Raider, it's the same thing with a different name technically. So the only thing that might be different is the loot drops. If they follow the same principle as the Inquisitor and Scout anomalies, since I know that you can't really find the same blueprints in all regions. Some regions have something, while all the regions do miss that specific thing. In my case here, I get laser blueprints, mining blueprints, cargo rigs, I think, cargo blueprints, and things like that. So yeah, I also have noticed quite a lot of the Rift Space anomalies opening, and I think they also have removed an entire wave because it was too frustrating and too slow to clear. Now that is something that I can technically understand. The capital anomalies, where you can basically find super capitals, they were quite long to clear, and there have been instances where it took so long to clear that the anomaly just collapses. Now I can kind of understand why they have nerfed that, because that one is definitely not fun to do. It takes a year to complete, even if you have a good fleet. Not only that, but the overall The overall ships are no joke in that anomaly, in that rift space. But they haven't changed the super capital spawns, so you technically get the same thing, just a faster clear time. Again, I have to check them out. I have to check the anomalies out to see the differences. I know I did a lot of tests with the super capitals, and I used to test them in these anomalies, so I'll test them again to see what's different. I guess have to check it out. Now, someone also asked me if I will test out the new drones. I will. I'm also going to be testing out the reworked ships, the reworked carriers. They have increased resistance, not resistance, but overall changed stats. They have received some extra stats that I really want to check out, as well as Serpentis ships have received some extra web resistance. So overall, I mean, the update's been really interesting, but kind of funny that since I already touched the topic of the previous patch. If we follow the same idea, if Serpentis get a web resistance bonus, then Blood Raiders should have a Nosferatu and Neutralizer resistance bonus. Gurista Pirates should technically have buffed shield resistance to certain damage types, and Angel ships should have stabs. I don't know what Angel ships should have. They have speed bonus, so I guess stabs. I don't know. They're already fast enough. I wouldn't be adding stabs to Angel ships. There are already ships with million stabs. I mean, just look at the average Cinnabal or Macarial build. Stabs all day long. But would be funny if they add stabs, default stabs on the Cinnabal. It would be kind of hilarious, actually. But yeah, I find that change on the Vindicator quite interesting. I have to get one and I have to fly one to see if there is anything else changed on that ship. Now I also have thought about, I mean, there is kind of a unfortunate clumsy situation within the Alliance at the moment. The Alliance pulled off something that I didn't expect. So they pulled off something that the whole corporation didn't expect. And not really sure how things will go from this point. I mean, I can see why, but it is not going to end well. That's all I'm going to say. It feels like, you know, when Catch 22 was still running, right? And before the big war that happened in Catch 22, like maybe a month or two before the collapse, back when everything felt nice. I mean, I was back then. I was in Catch 22. I love the Alliance. Was a very nice home, but my current Alliance does feel almost the same, and that makes me worried because fast forward from that point in Catch 22, the Alliance collapsed. They got wiped out. So I have a very bad feeling. I have a very bad feeling about what's going to happen within the alliance in the next 2 months. So my idea to buy a carrier for our home system here is postponed for now. Not because I don't want a carrier, but I don't think it's a good idea to have one right now, since things are on feels like things are on shaky legs, and I don't want to risk having a carrier trapped here. So unfortunately, that's how things, are at the moment. Bad decision from the Alliance. They shouldn't done some things that they did. That's just what I feel happened, and we will see what will happen. kind of scary when I say that, because I'm a very accurate. I became very accurate at predicting things within the game, and I don't like that. I don't like my accuracy. My accuracy usually gives me chills because it's usually not good. Well, usually not good. That's not true. I did have some very nice predictions that happened, and that were quite positive. But you know, I have to push the equation on both ends. If it can do good things, it can also predict bad things. So that's just how it goes. But overall, generally speaking, I have been very happy so far. I mean, it's been going really well. No complaints from no complaints from me for a lot of things. So we will see how. I mean, I see no complaints. Just thinking aloud, if you wanna call it like that. Just trying to figure out what's next, basically. Since I have to be a couple steps ahead every time. I have to, basically. If I don't do that, I might be in trouble. But yeah, I feel like there is more balance updates coming up. It's going to be a very interesting October, November, and December. We all the talk about Black Ops battleships, all the talk about new space, wormhole space, things like that. I mean, there's a lot of things that will happen. Wormhole space is, I think, the next like big thing. And if things go well, we will have a wormhole system home, and who knows what will happen after that. I mean, I looked at the previous games that I played, and I looked at how long I played them, and I'll probably expand on this topic in a different video, because it's quite interesting. Back when I compared like the time scale of what I've been playing and for how long I've been playing things, but we will see. I think that the Black Ops battleships are going to be quite fun. I mean, I have some ideas that I want to try out with them. Hopefully they do keep the original name. It would be hilarious if they become Typhoon cover tops. That would, or Armageddon cover tops, or Dominic's cover tops. I really hope that they keep the EVA Line ship naming on those ships. I think they will, actually, since we have seen some special ships being released lately, and maybe they will. I mean, they're adding sub-capitals. Now I'm very happy that they're adding sub-capitals. Not happy about the boxes and the ships coming out of the boxes, but that's just how it is. Maybe they will not be added from the boxes. Maybe they will be classic, built in a classic way. Maybe they'll require, I think most likely actually, they'll require cobalt edge materials. So you can expect the insurance price on these things to be very expensive, but I think they'll be very fun ships. Very similar to, well, I say very similar. The price tag will be very similar to the Navy ships, but they'll have something quite unique to them, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. If you're asking me which one of these ships I'll fly the Panther, because I already have cannons. Panther uses cannons, and I think I'll be able to create something quite nasty with that ship. So, am I excited for them? Yes, I am. Cannot wait to actually get my hands on some of these Black Ops battleships. I'll fly all of them, but my primary will definitely be the Panther. I'm very excited to see what what that ship will do. It will use cannons for sure. A cloaky typhoon with cannons. Hopefully it does have the battle mode. If it has a battle mode, oh my god, that thing is going to be a monster. The battle mode on the battleship is going to be quite hilarious. In any case, this weird build, I call this build weird because it's a battleship with a dual propulsion setup, but it works somehow. And honestly, unironically, I like how this ship performs. I definitely have to test out the dual propulsion build on different battleships. I think it might result in some pretty funny, it will probably result in some funny moments for sure. But in any case, hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, I'll probably try to catch some sleep now. Maybe not, I don't know. If I accidentally turn on War Thunder and if I start playing that game, it's going to be an all-nighter. So yeah, I'll definitely need some luck to catch some sleep tonight. But in any case, stay safe, fly safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.